Are you ready to fight like a champion, not just in the courtroom, but in every facet of your life? Welcome to the Legal Athlete Podcast. I'm Jess Sargus, your host, high-performance speaker, and coach for trial lawyers. With over 22 years as a trial attorney and legal exec, and an undefeated record as a former MMA fighter and boxer, I know what it takes to thrive in high-stakes environments. I also know that in both the courtroom and the cage, you're only as good as your wins. That's why I'm here to help you develop a fighter's mindset, discipline, and strategies so you can master your mental game and execute under pressure to win more and burn out less. Every week, I fuse insights from elite athletics, legal pros, and cutting-edge neuroscience and sports psychology to help you perform at your peak under pressure. So whether you're looking to reinvent your practice, your mindset, or your life, this is the podcast for you. It's time to become a legal athlete. Let's get it. Welcome back to the Legal Athlete Podcast, the show where we take the secrets of elite athletes and apply them to your legal career so you can dominate the courtroom like a champion. I'm your host, Jess Sargus, and today we're shifting gears and hitting the gas pedal. You've heard me explain the close parallels between the fighter's mindset that boxers and MMA fighters develop and the mindset a great trial lawyer uses to achieve consistent excellence. But today, we're talking about what trial lawyers can learn from elite race car drivers. This topic comes out of a recent conversation I had with a trial lawyer who's become pretty dedicated to improving their trial skills, and a question they asked me. They said they've already worked with a specialist on their opening, another specialist on their voir dire, and so they asked, how is mental performance coaching any added benefit? Here's the answer. Your opening, voir dire, jury selection, or closing arguments, these are all the mechanisms, the vehicle of your trial, if you will. Think of them like the components of a race car. You've got the best engine, the right tires, the finest tuned braking system possible. But here's the question that determines whether you win or lose. Who's driving? A racing team might have the best car on the grid, the best specialists adjusting every component, but if the driver isn't operating at peak mental and physical performance, it doesn't matter. The car is just the vehicle. It takes the driver's skill, precision, endurance, and mental toughness to win. That's where my coaching comes in. I'm a driver specialist. Your trial plan, your voir dire strategy, your jury selection, these are all important. But if you can't execute all of these with excellence when it matters most, if you can't perform at your peak under pressure during the marathon of a trial, then you're leaving a critical part of your performance to chance. And just like race car drivers train their mind to gain an edge on the track, trial lawyers need mental performance training to dominate consistently and with less stress in the courtroom. If you can't make the best split-second decisions in trial, focus and prioritize amidst distraction and competing inputs, regulate your emotions when the stakes are high, and outmaneuver your competition in real time. In other words, if you're not working on your mental game, you're leaving a massive competitive advantage on the table. So here's the deal. Winning in trial and winning on the track demand the same core mental performance skills. You want a present moment focus and awareness to control your attention, process key details, and avoid costly mistakes. You need mental discipline to stay locked into your strategies and goals, even when things don't go as planned. And you need the ability to perform consistently, even under intense pressure and unpredictability. If you've ever walked into trial mentally exhausted, overwhelmed, unsure if you prepared enough, or struggling to focus, then you already know the cost of neglecting your mental performance training. Race car drivers know that their cars or physical skill aren't enough. Their mental conditioning is what separates the best from the rest. And just like they know vehicles alone don't win races, as trial lawyers, we know legal knowledge alone doesn't win trials. It's the lawyers who train their minds like elite athletes who gain the real edge. So, buckle up, because today we're accelerating into the mental performance strategies that help you strengthen your present moment focus, develop elite self-awareness, and train your mind to navigate distractions, stress, and adversity, so you can make the best decisions in the moment that align with your strategies and goals, and make those F1 drivers' competitive advantage your own at trial. Let's get into it. First, training present moment focus. As you know, race car drivers don't just rely on instinct. They train their brains to stay completely locked in on the present moment. At 200 miles per hour, distractions can mean disaster. So drivers train to focus on the process, not the outcome, to control their response to pressure, not external chaos, and to commit to executing one move at a time with precision. Trial lawyers, you need the same skills. You need to be able to read the room, the judge's body language, a juror's reaction, opposing counsel's tone. You need to stay mentally centered, not get stuck on a bad ruling or worry about what's coming next. And you need to execute with full awareness, being able to adjust to what's happening in real time without going off course. This is where mental performance training comes in. One of the things that we train is win the next play mentality. You can't control the past or the future, only your response in this moment. In trial, that means letting go of bad rulings or tough witness testimony and staying locked into the next best move. It also means that we train on focusing on the controllables. You can't control the judge or jury, but you can control your mindset, your breath, your preparation, and your effort. The best trial lawyers train themselves to stay dialed in on what matters. We also train on reset routines. Elite athletes use pre-planned resets to stay locked in. Some race car drivers use pre-lap routines. Trial lawyers need the same. It could be a deep breath, a mantra, or just a quick physical action that cues you to refocus. And here's how we work on these things in our mental performance training and the trial fight camps. We'll use pretrial focus training, where we mentally rehearse key case themes and how you'll adjust to shifting dynamics. We'll also adopt the same win the next play mindset, where you reset, refocus, and execute the next best move. And finally, we'll come up with your customized reset routine. We'll use a go-to action or phrase or physical cue to bring you back to center and onto what matters most in the moment. The key is your best performance happens when you're able to stay fully present, focusing only on what matters in that moment. Next, we'll go over mastering emotional control, staying unshakable under pressure. In racing, a race car driver who loses emotional control doesn't just lose the race. They can cause a crash. And that's why they train to stay mentally unshakable no matter what happens on the track. They prepare for uncertainty and adversity, regulating their stress response, and resetting and refocusing when things don't go as planned. Trial lawyers, you might not be going 200 miles an hour physically, but you sure are mentally. You operate under a different kind of high-speed pressure. Opposing counsel may make a move that tries to throw you off your game. A witness could veer off track, yours or theirs, forcing you to adjust. And a disengaged jury might make you second-guess your strategy and shake your confidence in the moment. But ultimately, your ability to control your emotions and stay mentally steady determines whether you dominate or derail. Here's how we build some emotional resilience in mental performance training. And again, remember, these are all customized to the trial lawyer and the trial that's upcoming. First, we may work with our pre-trial breath work. We'll use techniques like the physiological sigh or box breathing that regulate your nervous system before you step into the courtroom. We'll also work on mental reset techniques like we talked about before. If something unexpected happens in trial, we pause, we breathe, we reset. Again, we can use some cues there that might be extra helpful for you to get locked in at that moment. We want to make sure that you're keeping your response measured and strategic. And then we'll also anchor your mental state. We'll use a go-to phrase or cue to pull your focus back when distractions arise. And we'll give you awareness training so that you can check in with yourself and realize if you are starting to go into a zone where your focus is fractured or your response isn't the most strategic and cool-headed that you want it to be. A really key part of this is being able to ask yourself to win. And again, I've gone over this in other podcasts, but it's so important and it's such a great tool. Win means what's important now. Zeroing in on that is such a key high performance tool. But high performance isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. And the lawyers who master emotional control dominate under pressure. Last, we're going to talk about precision decision-making under pressure. Race car drivers don't guess their way through a race or a course. They train their minds to make precision decisions in high-speed, high-stakes moments. Going that fast, hesitation is not an option. A driver has to process massive amounts of real-time information like track conditions, competitor movements, tire grip and wear, and make instant strategic decisions that align with their race plan. For trial lawyers, you might not be on a racetrack, but you are constantly processing an onslaught of critical information and trying to work it through your most strategic trial plan and trial performance in real time. Could be a judge that you notice shifting their stance mid-trial on a key legal principle that is important to your case. Or a jury could make a noise or give a look that all of a sudden signals that a juror you thought you had on your side is disengaged or has shifted their perspective. How do you respond in these moments? That determines the outcome of your case. And that's where mental performance mastery gives you the competitive edge. One way we'll train this is the process called event plus response equals outcome. E plus R equals O. We all know you can't control the event, like the judge's ruling, opposing counsel's argument, or a witness stumbling. What you can control is your response to that event. And your response is what dictates the outcome. Instead of reacting emotionally, elite performers train to make calm, strategic, and precise decisions under pressure. One way you can do this also is to win in your mind first. And what that means is elite drivers never step onto the track without first driving it in their minds hundreds of times. Through mental imagery and visualization training, they prepare their brains to execute before the real race begins. Another method of training is to train your reticular activating system, your RAS. Your RAS is your brain's built-in filter that decides what's important and what's noise. If you don't train it before trial, you risk getting distracted by what doesn't matter and missing what does. Visualization primes your RAS to recognize key details in real time. So when they happen in court, your mind is already primed to respond optimally. And here are some more mental performance techniques we may customize during a trial fight camp to take advantage of these strategies. One is pre-trial mental agility drills, simulating rapid fire objections and unexpected shifts so your brain learns to respond without panic or hesitation. Another, mental imagery and visualization training. This is huge. One way we do this is walking the courtroom in your mind, picturing where everyone sits, how you move, how you'll stand, your body language, how you'll command the space. We use sensory-rich details to make that visualization as real as possible. And then finally, along the lines of mental imagery and visualization, we have scenario rehearsal and pivot training. We don't just visualize success, we visualize adversity and pre-plan our response. So we'll mentally rehearse things going as planned and exactly how we want to take the best strategy forward. We'll also mentally rehearse things not going as planned and practice pivoting smoothly and with confidence into the next best move. That way, when it happens in real life, you're ready to respond quickly and with confidence. We know winners don't just react. They execute a plan they've already prepared for. So we train your brain to see the move before it happens. That way you always stay ahead of the game. So finally, there are 3 big takeaways that I hope you take from this episode. The first one is it is critical as an elite trial lawyer to train your present moment focus and make sure that you have a reset routine. Just like race car drivers stay locked into the track ahead, trial lawyers need to train their minds to stay fully present in the courtroom. Distractions like opposing counsel's tactics, unexpected rulings, or juror reactions can pull your focus if you're not prepared. So we apply this by developing a reset routine and a self-awareness routine so that you can notice if you're shifting out of that present moment focus and bring yourself back to the moment. This could be a deep breath, a simple phrase like lock in, or a small physical cue like adjusting your stance, gripping or clicking a pen, or just tapping your pen on your lap. The goal is to bring your focus back to what's most important right now. Number 2, you want to control your response, not attempt to control the chaos. In high-pressure moments, mental discipline is a difference between reacting emotionally and responding strategically. You can't control the judge's mood or opposing counsel's arguments or sometimes even your witness, but you can control how you respond, and that response dictates the outcome. To apply this, we'll use that event plus response equals outcome formula. So when things don't go as planned, you can pause for a mental reset, take a breath, and make the next best move. You'll have a pre-planned response to that event, and you'll have the best chance to get the outcome that you have anticipated. You'll train yourself to shift from reaction to strategy. And then third and finally, you're going to train to win before you ever walk into that courtroom. The most consistent performers don't leave their performance to chance. They train it before game day. Race car drivers mentally drive the track, again, hundreds of times before they ever step into the car, and you should do the same before trial. Your brain should already feel like it's been in that room before. So we apply this by using visualization and vivid mental imagery to prime your mind for peak performance. We might, during your trial fight camp, have a daily practice where you walk into the courtroom, visualize delivering key arguments, handling objections, and responding to unexpected moments with total confidence and high strategy. We'll also work on visualizing adversity, a tough ruling, a juror disengaging, and mentally rehearse how you plan to pivot. This mental prep makes high-pressure situations feel familiar and easier to navigate with confidence and certainty in real time. And finally, to sum up, you can have the best trial plan, the perfect jury, and the most well-crafted opening argument or voir dire process, but if you can't think faster, adapt quicker, stay composed under pressure, and make the best decisions when it matters most, then you're leaving a good part of your success up to chance. Race car drivers don't just work on their cars. They work on themselves because they know that the driver wins the race, not just the machine. And trial's no different. If you want to win more trials, outperform your competition, and execute at your absolute peak with less stress, then mental performance training isn't optional, it's essential. It's your competitive edge. Remember, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. If you want to perform at your best consistently, under pressure, and in unpredictable situations, start training your mind like an elite athlete. Thank you for joining me on the Legal Athlete Podcast. If you're ready to take your mental game to the next level, let's connect. Want me to speak to your group or team? Or are you ready for one-on-one trial fight camp coaching to perform at your best when it matters most? Reach out to me with a direct message on LinkedIn or through my website at thelegalathlete.com. Until next time, remember that the best version of yourself isn't some future version. It's the you who makes your daily choices. So make great ones. Make the ones that keep you on that champion fighter journey, building a record and a life you love.